Okay, so we're looking at Vibe Coding Kills Open Source, a paper that just dropped on January 23rd, 2026, from Miklos Kurin and his colleagues.
And it's a bombshell.
The core idea is that generative AI, what they call vibe coding, is this double-edged sword. It makes us way more productive, but it's also gutting the entire business model of open source software.
It's simple, really. The AI picks and chooses code packages for you. So the developer, you never visit the GitHub repo, you never read the docs.
And that breaks the link between actually using the software and the maintainer getting any kind of reward for it.
Exactly. And their model predicts that, yeah, we get a short-term productivity boost, but long-term, the whole ecosystem, variety, quality, it just collapses.
Unless we find a new model. They call it a Spotify for open source.
Right, and this isn't just some, philosophical argument. They've built an entire economic model around this, and the data they present is, frankly, terrifying for anyone who maintains a project.
So let's dig into that term first. Vibe coding. It sounds a bit like marketing speak, but they're pretty specific about it, right?
Oh, very. This isn't just, getting autocomplete from Copilot. They define it as the whole end-to-end process. You state your intent, build me a dashboard, and the AI does the rest, selecting components, writing the boilerplate. It bypasses all the due diligence a human developer used to do.
Which is where the open source maintainers used to get their visibility.
And their reputation, their consulting gigs, all of it.
The paper is set in our present, early 2026, but it feels like they saw this coming a mile away.
Well, yeah. They cite that Anthropic CEO, Dario Amodei, back in late 2025. He said something like 70, 80, 90% of code will be written by Claude.
And that seemed wild then, but it lines up with Google's numbers from even earlier in 2024 when they said over a quarter of their new code was AI generated. The curve was steep.
It's an S-curve, and that's what their model uses. It's based on two things, AI capability, which they call zeta, and substitutability, which is theta.
And theta is a scary one here.
It's terrifyingly high. I mean, coding is just text in, text out. The ability for an AI to substitute for a human searching documentation is almost perfect. That's why we went from this is a cool toy to this writes my entire application in, 2 years?
So let's contrast the old way with the new way, the vibe coding way.
Okay, so the old way. The way we all did it until, yesterday. You have a problem. You search online, find a library on NPM or GitHub.
You actually read the re8m file.
You read the README. You check the open issues to see if the project is, even alive. Maybe you see a sponsor link or a pro version. There's a connection.
Even if it's just friction, it's a connection. I knew I was using a specific library. I might even know the maintainer's name.
Exactly. That friction was the business model. Now, in the vibe coding way, you just prompt an agent.
Build the thing?
Build the thing. And it pulls in 10 dependencies you've never heard of. You never see them. You never start their repos. You certainly never sponsor them.
Usage goes through the roof.
Yeah.
But engagement, the currency of open source, just flatlines.
And that brings us to their economic model, which is really the heart of the paper. It's a general equilibrium model.
With this core idea, they call software begets software.
Yes, that's parameter beta. They estimate it's about 1/3. So 1/3 of the value of any new software you create comes from the existing software it's built on. Libraries, frameworks, you name it.
That feels right. I'm not writing my own compiler every time I start a project.
Nobody is. And usually that's a good thing. A positive feedback loop. More software makes it easier to build new software. But this paper says vibe coding introduces a conflict, a horse race, as they put it.
Okay, let's break down the race. Who is horse number one?
Horse number one is the good guy, the productivity channel. AI makes development cheaper, easier. It raises the utility, or you, of building stuff, so more people build more stuff. If that was the whole story, we'd be in a golden age.
But it's not the whole story. There's another horse on the track.
There is, the demand diversion channel, which is basically a business stealing externality.
It sounds bad, but it's really about where the value goes.
It's what they call the appropriability problem. Why do people maintain open source projects? It's not for the download count. It's for the indirect rewards that come with it.
Reputation, getting hired, enterprise support contracts.
All of that. And vibe coding just severs that connection. The math here is really what's so alarming. If your reward per user drops faster than your development costs fall, you just stop.
Even if the AI makes me 10 times faster, if my reward for sharing my work is 0, why would I bother?
You wouldn't. And this isn't just a theory. They have a case study that is just brutal. Tailwind CSS.
Yeah, this is the part of the paper that really hit me.
It's the smoking gun. Tailwind is a huge successful project. So you look at the data, NPM downloads, up and to the right. The code is being used more than ever.
In the old world, the creators would be popping champagne.
Right? But they're not. Stack Overflow questions about Tailwind, way down, traffic to their own documentation, plummeting. And the killer statistic, the creator says their revenue is down close to 80%.
80%.
Down 80% while being more popular than ever, because their whole business was people visiting the docs and buying UI kits or templates. But now, the AI just knows the Tailwind classes. You never have to visit the site.
It's extracting all the value from the documentation without ever showing the user the Buy Now button.
It's the ultimate free writer problem, scaled to infinity. And look, if Tailwind, a project that visible, is losing 80% of its income, what does that mean for the smaller libraries we all depend on?
They're gone. They just disappear.
Or they never get started in the first place. And they back this up with the broader Stack Overflow data, a 25% drop in overall activity just 6 months after ChatGPT came out. It's what they call engagement substitution. We're replacing community with an AI.
Okay, so the paper splits this into a short run and a long run problem. Right now in 2026, we're in the short run.
We're in the sugar rush phase. Productivity is up. The number of projects is going up. Even quality Q can go up at first because the AI helps you write better code.
But there are warning signs even now. They talk about the slop phenomenon.
Yeah. The total amount of code is exploding, but the fraction of it that's actually worth sharing and maintaining is shrinking. You get all this AI slop code that was generated for one person's specific need and is totally useless to anyone else.
They quote the maintainer of curl, one of the most fundamental tools on the internet.
Daniel Stenberg. He said that in 2025, something like 20% of the security reports they got were just AI-generated nonsense, fake vulnerabilities that an AI hallucinated.
So not only are you getting less reward, your workload is actually increasing because you have to filter out all this garbage.
That's the tipping point, falling revenue, rising annoyance. And that's what leads to the long-run equilibrium, the kill scenario.
So walk us through the death spiral.
It's that positive feedback loop, but in reverse. The vibe share, the percentage of code written by AI, gets so high that engagement drops to basically zero. So maintainers quit.
And because software begets software.
The quality of the building block starts to rot. Bugs go unfixed. Security issues linger. Now the AI has worse, buggier code to learn from. Its suggestions get worse. The cost of development actually starts to go back up because you're fighting against this decaying foundation.
Well, burning the furniture to heat the house.
Right.
Consuming decades of open source capital without putting anything back in.
We are strip mining the commons, pure and simple.
But the authors don't just leave us there. They do propose a way out. This Spotify for open source idea.
And it's a really good analogy. Piracy decoupled listening to music from paying for it. Streaming, for all its faults, recoupled it. They tied usage, the stream, back to a royalty payment.
So the AI platforms, Cursor, Claude, all of them, they're the new Spotify.
They have to be. They're the gatekeepers. They're the only ones who know which packages their agents are importing. They see all the plays. The idea is they have to take a slice of their subscription fees and pay it back out to the maintainers based on usage.
Because right now the value chain is completely broken. I pay my $20 a month to the AI company. The AI uses open source code. And the maintainer gets zilch.
Nothing. The paper has a variable for this, the vibe discount. They call it rho.
Okay, let's get into rho for a minute. What is it measuring?
Rho is basically how much less a maintainer earns from an AI user compared to a direct user. If the AI user pays nothing into the ecosystem, which is the case now, rho is equal to 1, a 100% discount.
And the model says if rho is 1, the system dies.
Inevitably, yes.
So what does rho need to be for the system to survive?
Well, they do the math, and it depends on the productivity gain. But even if AI makes us, say, 12% more efficient at coding, the revenue going to maintainers can't drop by more than about 11%.
But we just saw Tailwind's revenue drop by 80%.
Exactly. The gap is enormous. The vibe discount is massive. We are nowhere near a sustainable level. Unless that rho value gets a lot closer to zero, meaning AI users are contributing financially, the whole thing falls apart.
This feels like a massive coordination problem, though. I can't do this as a developer. I'm not going to mail a check to every dependency in my project.
No, it has to be the platforms. They're the aggregators. They have the user's credit card and they have the usage data. They're the only ones in a position to create a royalty system.
But will they do it voluntarily? I mean, Spotify didn't start paying artists fairly out of the goodness of its heart.
That is the multi-billion-dollar question. Yeah. But the paper argues it's actually in their own self-interest.
So.
Because if the open source world dies, What is their next AI model going to train on?
The training data dries up.
Right. If all that's left is abandoned projects and AI slop, the models stop improving. The AI literally eats its own tail. It's a snake eating its own tail. It's a self-defeating prophecy.
The paper ends by talking about the speed of all this.
Sure.
It brings back that theta parameter.
The substitutability, yeah. Because it's so high, this isn't some slow-motion crisis over a decade. It's happening now, in months. The ecosystem, as they say, is living on borrowed time. We are coasting on the momentum of the world before AI.
That's a really chilling thought. We're enjoying the party today, but we've stopped paying the people who supply the food and drinks for tomorrow's party.
And that's really the core message here. We're all optimizing for our own local productivity, shipping our features faster, but in doing so, we are creating a systemic risk that could destroy our entire software supply chain.
So for all of you listening, for the engineers and researchers using these tools every day, maybe the question to ask is, what's the plan for Row? When you're using your agent, remember there's a human behind that dependency it just imported.
You have to ask the platform providers, what are you doing to lower the vibe discount? Because if the answer is nothing, then these amazing tools we love might just be the thing that burns it all down.
Sobering thought to end on. Thanks for tuning in to AI Paper Podcasts. We'll see you on the next one.